let's hopefully we'll find a snippet in there I can cut out and use and make it look like I actually know what I'm doing. Turn that down a little bit. No fan tonight. I don't have the fan on. That's a good thing. I have a tiny little fan just to circulate some air in the room. And when I'm over here playing and messing about or on my computer, I cannot hear it. It's so quiet. And yet when I plug in and try to do a video, if it's on, I won't hear it. But that microphone, tonight I'm using a different microphone, but that microphone will pick it up and just amplify it times 10. So today I'm messing about with one I showed in a Fun with Chords video, and I'm going to keep it fairly brief and to the point because I don't know much about these. And a little bit of, well, I could find some information online. They were made between 1998 and 2005. And I always joke that I should change the channel name on my channel to Guitars on the Cheap, because this was a cheap find. This is an Ibanez RBG? I don't think it's an RBG. An RG 220B. And I think they made about a bajillion of these a year for a number of years. And the early years had a 3-way switch. Later year or two had I think a 5-way switch in the last year. And not much to report. It's a 25.5-inch scale. It's got the Floyd Rose wannabe tremolo system. And interesting, I was just joking a while back that I thought Floyd Rose was some really old guy who came up with this system and then passed away years ago. And then somebody, maybe Tone King, I don't remember, did an interview with him at NAMM here a few weeks ago. And it turns out that I think I got a couple years on Floyd. I think he looked pretty spry, looked pretty good. So when I talk about guitars on the cheap, this is it, baby. This is at a flea market, and the guy has this in an amp, and he wants $90, and he's a hard trader. He's a hard wheeler dealer. And so I thought, well, I don't have anything. This is the only guitar I own with a Floyd Rose. And it's kind of cool, but it's also... I'm going to go find an amp that's clean here. You can hear that it's out of tune already. That was from a little bit of playing I was doing as an intro there. So, and I don't know if that's normal or not. I suspect that once you figure them out and have them dialed in, this one just seems to go out of tune pretty quick. It's easy to tune them with these little Floyd Rose gizmo here. Although, again, I want to discount that this is an actual Floyd Rose. This is an Ibanez version of Floyd Rose. And I don't know what they called it. The bridge in the early years was an SLT 101, and then in 2001 later it was a ILT1 tremolo. In 2003 and 4 it was an Edge Pro 2, and in the last year, which this is not, 2005, was an Edge 3 tremolo. So it's their own make of that, and there's probably something I need to do on here. I got to go back and watch a video on there. It's got the locking nut. I don't know anything about that. I saw Ben Coombs had a thing where it's a little magnetic thing, so you can have a nut wrench type thing that you just stick on the back of your headstock, and there's enough metal there that the magnetics in it just keeps it there. So if you need to undo something, you can undo it. Couple of humbuckers, Ibanez humbuckers. What a steal! $50 at a flea market. You know, if I was a kid way back when in the 60s, and I'd have come across any guitar, electric guitar, for $50, unless it was just a no-namer, you know, a real piece, I would have paid $50 even back then and would have felt pretty darn good about it. So it says from 98 to 2004 it's a one-piece maple, and I've yet to figure out what's the big deal about a one-piece versus a three-piece versus a, 5-piece or something. My first bass back in the 60s when I was a little kid was a Framus Strato bass, and it looked like it had laminated pieces of wood. It was really nice looking, like a couple 100,000 of them in here, little pieces of wood. And those necks did not do well over the years. The few I've seen have all had kind of warped necks. So yeah, those locking, that's just flush. The locking nuts are screwed in from the back, and that's just very nicely flush, and there's no way that would interfere with any playing. This one looks to be in pretty good condition. The fretware, I looked on eBay for the original price, and I saw, or not on eBay, but on the internet, and saw that somebody said, "Hey, I got one. It was only $3.99." So apparently new. They went for, back in 1998, $3.99 was a lot. But then I saw somebody say, "No, they got theirs for $2.99." And then I saw another comment where the guy said he got his for $1.99 on closeout, because they kept coming up with newer editions every year, and they ended this in 2005 and came out with another sort of RG model to take its place, and that was the end of this. So I can't speak much to the pickups. It's a rosewood fingerboard, white dot inlay, an RG 220B. Where's the information on the pickups? I found one site that had specs on it, and I'm always suspicious because I've run into a few sites that had, well, including one of the big box stores that had information that wasn't correct. 24 jumbo frets. Doesn't appear to have much fretware. I mean, my guess is some kid had to learn to play guitar and just had to have one and got one for Christmas and then never really learned. The frets here, there's really no fret sprout. It's really nice. To me, and I've not measured anything, but to me this neck seems maybe a hair wider from top to bottom and a hair thinner from front to back. It's a very thin profile. It's very nice. It really plays nice. So, the bridge pickup is a Ibanez PSND 2. I have no idea what the meaning of that meant. And the neck pickup was a PSND 1. And then right at the end in 2005 they changed them. I know I got a earlier model because I just have a 3-way selector. And in that last year they went to a 5-way selector. So I know this is somewhere between a 98 and a 2004. The neck type is called a Wizard 2, and I don't know if that's a whole lot better than a Wizard 1 or not as good as a Wizard 3 or who knows what. It is a basswood body. That's how we pronounce it around my part of the country. Not basswood, basswood. Made in Korea. I did find something that said it was made by Cort. And then in their very first year, 98, I think it was, 98, 99, maybe just 98, it was made by Peerless. And if you know anything about Peerless, they make really, really good guitars at a low cost. And now they do mostly all jazz boxes that are beautiful pieces of work. And I'll show you kind of before they used to make guitars for Epiphone, the real high-end Epiphones back in the day. And then they went to just strictly making guitars for themselves, Peerless guitars. And I have one that they made for somebody else, a jazz box that I'm showing down the road, I hope, that was made by Peerless in the Peerless factory. And it's a piece of art almost. Business. Yeah, I'm in trouble now. Anyway, that's it for the Ibanez RG 220B. I keep wanting to say RPG like it's a weapon or something, but anyway, if you find one of these around, used prices. I found one on Guitar Center in fair condition for 129 or 139, something like that. And then I found them in good condition, ranging from, I think they only had 4 of them. That surprised me because I think they made, like I said, I think they made about a bajillion a year. And they only had 4. So maybe they had a 420A or a C or a D. Maybe there were later other versions of this. I did see one for a 220, not a 220B. But anyway, so and the ones in good condition range from 150 to 250, and I thought, wow, I wonder if there's really any difference if they claim they're all in good condition and the range is from 150 to 250. And well, my battery just went dead, so I had to replace the battery. So where was I? Yeah, with Guitar Center, so they list them in fair condition, ranging from 150 to 250, and clearly one of them might be in good condition. I don't know. I mean, how do you really know what you're getting when there's that big of a range on something like this? But look, if you can find one at a flea market for 50 bucks, it's not bad. I mean, this would be a great guitar if you're into playing around with upgrading. I think this might be kind of fun to have. If you had some spare pickups to put in that you thought were better, if you had a better tremolo, I can't speak to that. If it was a regular bridge, I could talk about maybe putting a different bridge in. I'd feel almost comfortable with that. But with a Floyd Rose style of bridge, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on here. It looks like a real nightmare. So anyway, that's the only guitar I have that has a Floyd Rose type of bridge, type of trim. So I was messing around with heavy stuff. This is for shredders and metal guys, I think. So on chats and videos I watch, and there's probably 1,000 more that I don't watch that I don't know who they are, but I hang out with on the chat with Metalhead Hippie and Sandra Porkorney, and also Gary Big G Tholander is on there, and he has his own channel as well. I'll try to remember to put links in down below. So, I like Metalhead Hippie's chat because it's kicked back. Some chats really get busy and people are screaming, and it just seems so busy that there's no point in putting a comment in because nobody's really going to read it. And here they read the comments and they respond to them, and so I like that. It's a low key. It's lower key. Maybe at some point he will get bigger and. I'll have to find some other low-key stream. He was also a guest on a show that I just started subscribing to called The Live Wires, which are Brian S. and Dave from DR Guitars. And Metalhead Hippie was a guest on their show tonight, and I know Tone King was a guest on other. But I just started watching. I went back and watched a couple of the past videos here, and they have some really good content too, and it's mostly conversation about guitars. Electric guitars, and gear that works and gear that doesn't. So anyway, that's the end. That's all I got. Feel free to subscribe, and thanks for watching. And I'll play something out here, random song. I don't know what it would be. Some of these songs, man alive, they're really... Most of these things, I'm using a Boss JS10 E-band, and... some of them are kind of hard. Most of them are like 10-second loops, so you can find the groove, and it gives you what key they're in, but sometimes they're wrong. So, and I'll play out of tune even.